men.
These are the men.
Bobby Santos,
Frank Fleming,
Later Troyer, George Kent,
L.W. Miller,
Charlie Jerzombe,
Burt Myers,
Mike Stefanik,
Richie Evans,
Buck Stevens,
George Brunholzer III,
Jeff Bodine,
Teddy Christopher.
Jerry Cook.
Drivers, I think it's fair to say, are abnormally brave.
These are the men that work 40 hours a week and then another 40 hours a week on their race cars at home.
Live by the grace of God and 600 horsepower.
600 horsepower. Just to win at Bristol is a big deal to anybody, but particularly these guys.
The Ground Pounders.
The Mod Squad.
Mod Squad.
These are fantastic cars.
The NASCAR Whelen Modified Tours.
Watch them off turn number 4.
As we send them on their way.
In the northeast corner of Tennessee sits Thunder Valley. Bristol Dragway, Bristol Motor Speedway. Today, Lightning joins the Thunder on the world's fastest half mile, the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tours UNOH Perfect Storm 150 on speed. 84 degrees, beautiful day for racing. In fact, the best day they've had for this race in its brief 3-year history. Welcome to Thunder Valley and one of my favorite events of the year. Can you feel it? Joy,
yes,
Dick
I
Berggren. Yes, we're modified fans. The modifieds are NASCAR's oldest and only open wheel division. And boy, are they exciting and thrilling to watch, whether it's on a 5th mile or the world's fastest half mile.
Yeah, indeed. And drivers have come from 10 different states to participate in tonight's event. The young Eric Rudolph, age 19, is going to be starting on the front row, representing youth. And then there are the senior drivers, too. Wade Cole, car 33, will start deep in the field. He is 58 years old.
And has been at it ever since his dad owned a race car at Riverside Park back in the late 1940s, early 50s. You stand on pit road at this racetrack, you're in a cathedral of speed, and you look up at all those seats that'll be filled to near capacity Saturday night, and one thing enters your mind and stays there. I want to win here. That's what's on the mind of every driver in this field.
Yeah, it really is. I've been in the garage area since 6:30 this morning when it opened, and just listening to the drivers, to the crew members, the crew chiefs, the girlfriends, the wives, the hangers-on. They are so pumped up because this is Bristol. This is, for many of them, the biggest single race they will run all year long.
Lots of stories throughout this field. Let's join another longtime mod fan, Speed's Bob Dillner.
and Mike Joey, these 13-inch slicks grab around the high banks of Bristol like no other division. On the pole today, in one of the most famous cars in all of modified racing, the Mystic Missile, Bobby Santos III. And Bobby, you finished in the top 5 here last year, but we talked about the lesson learned from 1 year ago. What is it?
I just learned where you got to be on the racetrack. I definitely struggled the first half of the race last year, my first time being here, but definitely learned a lot of stuff and kind of applied it to practice and qualifying today, and I'm pumped for the race today. I think we're going to be really good.
Have you allowed yourself to figure out how big a victory would be here on the Bristol High Banks?
It'd mean a lot. I mean, this is one of those places on TV that you watch since you're a baby. So to win at Bristol, I think to every one of these modified guys would mean the world. But I feel like this is the 4 cars today, and that's what we're going to try to do.
He's a former Copper Classic midget winner out there in Phoenix. Mike?
Well, this field, Dick, is notable for who is in it and for who is not.
Yeah, well, Ryan Newman is in it, and the car he used last year to win this race is here as well. But his team owner and crew chief are not, because at New Hampshire earlier this year, after a win, they were found to have an engine that violated the rules. The engine builder took the responsibility. Nonetheless, some of the key players in Newman's team are absent. Gary Putnam is the guy with the wrenches tonight.
And who's not here is Ted Christopher, the division's 3rd all-time winningest driver. He and his crew chief haven't been getting along. Car owner Eddie Whelen says, I got enough stress in my day job. I don't need it in my hobby as well. He parked the car, but reportedly offered it to Christopher to bring to Bristol on his own, and Ted couldn't get everything put together in time, so he is absent from this field. Bob?
One of the top Southern guys in today's field, Burt Myers. in the dreaded #1 car, but it's been an awful day for Burt Myers. Engine problems in practice number 1, engine problems in practice number 2, and then you go out to qualify and rear end problems in this car. You got a long way to go to get up front, buddy.
Yeah, Bob, it's definitely not the day we planned on. Like I said, we broke a rocker arm in the first practice, and the guys with Roush Yates came over and got it taken care of. And it's just been one problem after another. I got ready to go out to qualify, and like you said, the rear end was broke. But hey, I think last year we started about last, and at the halfway break we were 11th. So it's going to be fun trying to pass some cars. But I tell you, as a Southern driver, it's really going to be a treat to try to win this race today.
Burt Myers, one to keep an eye on. He'll start shotgun on the field.
And where did he get that replacement rear end? From the pole-winning team of Bob Garbarino and Bobby Santos III. Ready to race? We are. Thunder and lightning in Thunder Valley. The engines roar to life on 34 NASCAR Modifieds. The Whelen Modified Tour and the Whelen Southern Modified Tour represented, competing for one first but for separate point standing awards. And they are ready to race, as you see Matt Hirschman. The 4, Bobby Santos the third on the pole, Eric Rudolph, there they sit in the lineup position as the grid rolls across the top of the screen. Defending champ Ryan Newman's in that 77. Ronnie Silk, top of the points in the 6th. Mike Stefanik, multi-time champion in the 16. World's fastest half mile, 150 laps. Variable banking, 26 to 30 degrees in the corners. Straightaways equal length. And a switch to the format in this race. Now, they've had a halftime break previously to make adjustments and change tires. Not tonight.
No, they're going to have to change their tires and add whatever fuel they're going to add on the fly. No doubt it'll be when a caution flag waves.
The pace car for this event is one of the most unique in racing. Students at the University of Northwestern Ohio built it. It's a modified built to run in NASCAR's Whelen All-American Series. And Cody Weisner, student at the school and racer at the local track, is behind the wheel.
And that local track is owned by the university. It's Limaland Speedway, which is now part of the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series. Strange looking thing with all that plastic where you can see right inside, but it is quite a view. And they built that car from the ground up. 2 of the students did.
Post-World War II, modifieds began as coupes, as the fenders got smaller and smaller, and in some areas of the country they became cut downs and eventually super modifieds. But in NASCAR, there was no shortage of 37 Chevrolet bodies or mid-30s Fords to put on what became the 55 to 57 Chevrolet frames underneath most of these cars. At the turn of the 70s, Jack Arute, the promoter at Stafford, Connecticut, wanted to modernize the modifieds. It took him a year to convince NASCAR that his Pinto Revolution was the right way to go. And modifieds began sporting Pinto, Vega, and Gremlin bodies, among others. Chevy introduced the Cavalier. That lent its body to the modifieds, and most of the cars you see today are so liveried. Ready to race. How about time for our speed spotlight, Bob Dillner?
Well, Mike Joy, keep an eye on a second-generation driver in this field. 19-year-old Corey LaJoie. He'll roll off 17th. He's the son of two-time NASCAR Busch Series champion Randy LaJoie. And this is 911 Motorsports. His boss, the car owner, Glenn Ryerson, actually tried to help people when the Twin Towers went down 10 years ago. Of course, this year marks the 10-year anniversary of that tragedy, and they are hoping for a great run here today. He ran into those buildings, worked side by side with the police department and the fire department to rescue as many people as possible. Corey LaJoie won in his first ever NASCAR modified start. He's hoping to do so in his third here today, Doc.
Well, Eddie Flemke Jr. is going to start way in the back of the pack because he had more than a handful of problems trying to get here. The truck broke down not just once, but twice. That would have been enough for almost anybody to turn around and give up. This guy hasn't won a race since 2008. Why keep going? Well, he did, and he got here, and just before time trials, while they were lowering the car off the jack stands, it fell, damaging the oil tank. Flemke got under it, fixed himself, and he's out there and he is determined. That's a never give up attitude. Attaboy, Eddie Flemke.
Remember 1 year ago when Danny Hemrick from Kannapolis, North Carolina won the Legends Million at Charlotte Motor Speedway on speed. In the Hill Racing Enterprises, number 19, Roger and David Hill have installed Danny Hemrick. He's got a shot at one of NASCAR's Touring Series rides. This is the team for which Corey LaJoie won that race in Atlanta. Let's see how Daniel Hemrick fares tonight. Carrying our speed onboard camera will be Todd Szegedy, former Tour champion. You see that high visibility shield that he snaps down into place. Mike Smeriglio's car. Phil Moran's had a lot of work to do, as has that crew. They had to change engines after qualifying, and they're going to start in the back. Bob?
Yeah, Todd Szegedy qualified 7th for today's race, but Todd said the car just felt flat in the final practice as well as in qualifying, so they decided to change the engine in that machine. They'll go to the rear of the field. It'll be fun to watch for us, for him to come to the front of the field in that number 2 machine. Now, at the same time, another guy we have to watch here tonight is 7-time NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour champion Mike Stefanik. Mike Stefanik was very slow in both practice sessions. He found out that an alternator wire went bad. He went out for qualifying after replacing that alternator wire, and he didn't realize how fast his car was going to be. He qualified 6th, but Mike Stefanik says he's got a great race car for today. He led 21 laps here last year. He thinks he can win at 53 years old.
And he can. He's won a race this year, trying for yet another championship title. Bobby Santos has chosen the outside of the front row. It is the pole driver's choice of lane. Outside pole must take the other lane, and everyone else must hold the position in which they qualify. So the top groove, is that going to be the fast groove? We're about to find out. 150 laps. Eric Rudolph will start on the inside, a youngster who's really been making a name for himself on this tour over the 2 years. He has been in tour competition. Ford Mustang dives to the pit lane, and we're ready to race in Bristol. Rudolph keeps Santos up high. Bobby hits the button, and he'll be the first one to the green. Here comes Newman around the outside. Charging hard for second, and Ryan Newman in that Dayglow car on the outside wants the lead from Santos, and is going to get it. Dick Santos chose the outside, but he quickly dropped to the bottom, and it cost him the lead.
Yeah, it kind of looks as if he ought to have run out there for at least a little while longer. This is a graduated banked racetrack. It's flatter on the bottom and more steeply banked on top. And we are watching Ryan Newman take off. And we know this is not the illegal engine that was run in New Hampshire, because NASCAR confiscated that motor, and they still have it.
Newman, one of the nation's top open wheel drivers. Oh, big spin. Szegedy's involved. And in turn number 4, there are 5 more cars in it. Wade Cole gets away. So does the 31 of Austin Pack.
Jamie Tomato is in it. That's the 99 that you're looking at.
1990 champion Burt Myers pulls away.
Gary McDonald just pulled away as well in the 26. He was involved also.
So that just leaves Tomato. Howell, New Jersey, who drops it down to the pit lane and spins around. Let's have a look at what happened here, Dick.
All right, this is in the back of the pack that this occurred. A couple of cars did a dual spin. One of them was Szegedy.
Yeah, he and Pack may have gotten together there. We'll get Todd's view of this from our onboard camera.
Oh yeah, yeah, they did.
Pack came right up into him.
Yeah.
Losing control. And that is what happens when you have to start in the back. Todd Szegedy with a long way to go. 4 laps complete in Bristol.